Episode 3526, How to Nurture Parent-Child Connections.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. How are you doing? It's Friday, which means it's Confessions of an Upset Mama. And you know what? I'm not really upset, but we are going to be talking about something very important. So I want you to lean in a little bit. I want you to pay attention so then you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. Oh yes, how to nurture parent-child connections. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already had the opportunity, you'll want to head on over to createyournow.com where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter, the Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. All right, well, take a deep breath because we're going to be talking about a lot of things when it comes to how do we serve our kiddos when it comes to love. And a lot of times we're not really thinking about that because expressing love to our children is a constant balancing act, isn't it? It's like, how does this work? They're a baby and you're like, okay, I feed them, I change their diaper, and I hold them and I love them. That's what I do with them. Snuggle with them. It's great. Then they start to get older and you're like, now what do I do with them? And at times you kind of figure it out, but do you really get it? Do you really get their love language? Well, even as hard as parents try, love can get lost in the message if parents don't learn how to nurture parent-child connections. And that's the key. And as you know, parenting is an intricate dance, right? It's all these fine, intricate moves. And just as each child is unique, so too are the ways they give and receive love. Now, we as parents may pour our hearts into demonstrating affection. Sometimes, though, it's not received at all, and it's not received well. This can lead to misunderstandings, miscommunications, and ultimately a disconnect in the parent-child relationship. And you wonder why you're batting heads against each other, right? You're just going at it. It's like bull against bull. Why? You don't want to be a bull in a china cabinet and have another bull join in on the rampage, right? It's not good. It's not good for relationships. And you want to have a trust. And trust comes with what? Loving unconditionally. But the problem is if that child doesn't feel loved in a manner that they're receiving it, how can that trust be earned? Man, it's complicated on a Friday, but that's okay. Take a deep breath because we're going to rely on Gary Chapman. Yes, he's a renowned author and counselor, pioneering the concept of the 5 love languages. And that's words of affirmations, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now, when we take the time to understand and speak a child's specific love language, then we can bridge the gap as a parent or a caregiver or as a grandparent or an auntie or an uncle and nurture a deeper connection with our little ones. We've got to be able to connect with our mini-me's, right? I mean, like seriously. So let's go over the 5 different love languages. The first one is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation like, your hair looks amazing today, or you played an incredible game tonight. Man, you took the ball all the way into the end zone. It holds significant value for children who thrive on praise, whether it's complimenting their personality or achievements, maybe an appearance, or anything that validates them. These words can have a lasting impact. It's important to note that offering a monetary reward, now listen here, monetary, meaning you're giving them money or saying, hey, thanks for doing this, and you tip them $20. To a child who craves affirmation, it's ultimately going to leave them feeling unfulfilled. They're going to feel like, oh, well, that's all I'm worth to them. All I wanted was, wow, thanks, you did an amazing job. Okay, there is a difference. So words of affirmation. Acts of service. During the formative years, we care for our children by fulfilling tasks they are unable to do independently, right? So we feed them, we clothe them, we change their diaper, like we do everything, right? But as they grow, our love manifests through guiding them and learning how to navigate life their own way. For a child who resonates with acts of service as their primary love language, understanding which specific acts hold significance is crucial. So does assisting with homework or teaching them a new skill like throwing a ball make them feel loved and valued? What is it? Is it that, okay, this is how we do things and we're going to do it and we do it together, but it's act of service, right? What do we do? How can we serve them? That's a hard one, but it's very important. And a lot of times, if it's not the primary, it's the secondary. Definitely the tertiary. Like seriously, acts of service is big for kiddos. As they grow older, by the way, I believe, this is my opinion, that love languages can shift. So pay attention to that as they go through the seasons of life and the stages of life, even as you go through the stages of life. Make sure you understand where your child is. Okay, what about gifts? Children who resonate with this love language, meaning receiving gifts, right? Cherish gifts as a physical expression of love and care. However, they may also perceive a scarcity of gifts as a scarcity of love. So if you're holding back something, maybe they're going to say, gosh, they're not paying attention to me because I didn't get as much. Hence, if it's Christmas time and you're like, everybody's got to get the same number of gifts, if you've got a kiddo who that is their primary, you got to pay attention to that, okay? It's essential to understand that the value of the gift lies not in its cost, okay? Pay attention, but in the sentiment behind it. They want to know that you put thought and effort into it. Acknowledging that a child may feel more appreciated with a small token like a pack of gum than with a hug is key to fostering effective communication and connection. So you got to pay attention to that. If your child just lights up every single time they get something new, now my kiddos, they would light up all the time, but as a whole, you'll know. You will just know that that's really it because nothing else works. The other four, like, meh. But the receiving gifts is like, oh. Okay. How about quality time? Children who communicate through this love language crave dedicated and uninterrupted attention. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Pay attention to me. I'm right here. From playful interactions on the floor during infancy. Remember when you just hold them as a little baby? Oh, I just love those. To engaging conversations, reading bedtime stories, or enjoying outdoor activities as they grow older. Have you ever read your older kids a bedtime story? Yeah, I actually tried that one time and they just kind of looked at me like, okay, Mom. They kind of had that question mark. But it was great and it gave us an experience and we loved it, but we moved on. So it is fun. It's more fun actually as they get older to reminisce on old stories from when I was growing up, when their grandparents were growing up, things like that, their aunts and uncles, all of those. They appreciate those kind of stories, whether it's bedtime or not. And while the specific activity is going to vary, the shared moments hold the utmost importance, right? That's the glue that holds you together. And think about this because this is very, very important for us because if you're a family with multiple children, it can be challenging for a child to secure one-on-one time with a parent. So it's essential for them to feel valued and reassured that they deserve and are worthy of receiving undivided attention. So having those specific date nights are important. Finally, physical touch. The profound impact of physical touch on an emotional well-being has been recognized for ages, right? I mean, this is none other, everybody, physical touch, especially if they're infants, right? And early development. But from the early stages of development where you hold the infants and that's when they thrive compared to being left alone, right? It shows. Every study out there almost shows that. You can always find one study to upset everything. But that's why I'm saying kind of question mark. To the older children who continue to yearn for physical closeness, the significance of simple gestures like a touch on the arm or that reassuring pat on the back or even just kind of scratching your back or a warm hug cannot be overstated. These acts of physical affection can hold special importance for children fluent in this love language as they seek to tangibly feel the depth of your love and care for them. So now that we have all 5 down, and I know you've got them all memorized, you're like, yes, I got this. No, go back, read the show notes, seriously. Come on over to createyournow.com. You can find the episode 3526, and you can read them there. They're all there listed for you. So how do you discover your child's love language so you can serve them well? Well, the only way you can do it is to learn to read your child. Oh, yes. That is your Kiss to Keep It Simple strategy. Learn to read your child, right? If we're going to have love languages, you get it? Okay, I know. I will not be a comedian, but I thought it was kind of funny. Play on words here. Come on. Get with the program here. We got to have fun. It's Friday, right? And it's confession day. So there are 3 ways. I want to jump into this because there's a lot here and I don't want to waste your time because love is important and you need to get back to loving your family, okay? So number 1, observe and listen. Pay close attention to how your child expresses affection towards others and what they request or appreciate in return. If they say, Mom, will you just come sit down with me? That's a good indication they want what? They want physical touch or they want quality time. They want you right beside them, okay? For example, if your child often seeks hugs and physical closeness, their primary love language might be that physical touch. In this case, offering frequent hugs, cuddles, right, your snuggles, and high fives can make them feel cherished and understood. That is important. But in order to get there and figure it out, you've got to observe and listen. Number 2, experiment and engage. I am all about experiments. You got to pay attention. So try expressing love to your child through each of the 5 love languages and observe their reactions, especially as they grow older. Figure it out. And if you have adult children, I'm telling you right now, pay attention to these love languages. They will change. And sometimes it's hard because you're like, oh, man, I just wish they were like this. Don't go that way. Don't do it. And I know it's easy to. Come on, it's confession day. I've done it before. If we could only, no, you can't. This is the real world now. This is where you're at, okay? So for a child whose love language is receiving gifts, for example, surprising them with the small token of appreciation like a handmade card or a favorite treat can speak volumes. Alternately, right, engaging in shared activities such as playing a board game or going for a nature walk caters to the child who values quality time. So one thing I love to do with my kiddos and did when they were growing up, and now when I go over to their house every once in a while to either sit with my grandbabies or the granddogs, whichever come first. Sometimes normally it's the grandbabies, but I've got a few of my kiddos that have granddogs, but they don't have any grandbabies. Actually, we got a grandcat too. So when I look at all of it, when you are sitting there looking and paying attention, see how they respond to you. You will know. Look at them in the eye. And if there's just this glisten or they just kind of perk up, that's a good indication. Oh, wait, this is where they're at, okay? But again, it's an experiment and you've got to engage in it. This isn't going to just jump off the page to you. You've got to figure it out. And then finally, number 3, communicate and validate. Open communication is key to understanding your child's emotional needs. Our kiddos, wow, they have emotional needs, and that's where we have to meet them at when it comes to love. They don't understand the depths of love as a kiddo because their brains have not matured yet. Remember, we got to hit into the 20s before we've hit that kind of maturity with our brains. So encourage them to express how they feel loved and appreciated and validate their feelings even if they differ from your own. Now, going back to the experiment and engage, one thing I love to do with that was I would write notes to my kiddos. And even when I stay over with them, I would do the same thing. I would leave little notes, hey, Mom did this for you, hope it's okay, or whatever. And then, have a great rest of your week. And I would put it on something maybe that was a gift. Now, a lot of times I take all 5 of the love languages and I make them happen. Why? Because I'm creative that way. And I'm just kind of weird, actually. But it seems to work for my kiddos. So usually I hit them on all, direction. But regardless, what you want to be able to do is if you try something, if you experiment, then communicate with them. Pay attention to what they say. Well, did that surprise you? Yeah, Mom, it was all right. And if that's the kind of or it was just like, yeah, it was good. Thanks, Mom. Do you hear the difference? One was like affirming you saying, yeah, this is what I wanted. The other one was like, oh yeah, it's just, I'm kind of over this. You got to hear the difference. And it may just be literally 2 blinks. And if you don't listen, you're going to miss it. So communicate and validate, right? Okay, deep breath here. Using words of affirmation, for example, to acknowledge their efforts, strengths, and unique qualities can boost their self-esteem and reinforce a positive parent-child bond. You have got to learn how to communicate and validate, and it all depends on which one is theirs. Now, there may be, in my opinion, you could have a couple that are primary, very close, so pay attention. And by actively learning and speaking your child's love language, you get to create this nurturing and supportive environment, this beautiful landscape where love flows freely and authentically, right? The rainbows and roses. Now, that doesn't mean life is going to happen that easily, but your love can always be that beautiful. Just as a flower needs the right conditions to bloom, my friend, children thrive when their emotional needs are met in the language they understand. Hence, you've got to learn to read your child. Read their language so you can speak their language. So Let's embrace the journey of discovery and celebrate the beauty of loving our children the way they receive love. Go in peace, be present, be incredible, be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed weekend. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.